Hey guts and ghouls, it's Stina, or side effects may include. Today I want to jump into some creepy convention stories online and talk about a few of my own experiences with weird convention stories. Cons seem like something from another planet now. With the way the world is, who knows when sweaty nerds can all be jam-packed into a convention center again. I don't know. It's very weird to me because it seems like just yesterday I was chilling at one of the many cons I reside in, but now you can't go to them, so it's one of those weird head moments where you're like, okay, I can't do that. Maybe someday again, KatsuCon, or Kineticon, or PAX. Maybe someday. First horror story is from KatsuCon. I've personally gone to this con the last, I think, 7 or 8 years. I missed last year because I went to New Orleans instead. All kinds of crazy shit always happens at this con. From gummy bears in bathtubs to light fixtures thrown out the window. They cover it all. The classy stuff. So this story is about infamous Floor 14. On a Tumblr blog, it became infamous because there was a big orgy on that floor one year, and someone thought it would be a crazy fun idea to talk about poking holes in all the condoms. They had to release a statement in the Facebook group urging everyone who participated to go to the clinic or hospital just to be tested. The guy that was joking about it was detained after the staff found out. I wasn't personally involved in this, and neither was my core group of friends. So I hope everyone got out okay. My advice is to just be cautious, especially at cons. I've had my share of crazy experiences at them myself, and you can never be too careful. It's important to have a good time, but make sure you go with people you know and be aware of your surroundings. Lots of creeps at cons, I swear. Next story is from Anime Expo 2015. Girl was on the phone trying to contact her friends. This guy approached them and asked for a picture of them. She was preparing to pose when he suggested they go to another place to take a picture where there were less people. She thought this made kind of sense since the place they were in was like a hallway that was packed, but this raised a red flag in her head. She made some sort of excuse that she was afraid of leaving her bag unattended, but he was so pushy and she wanted to get this over with, so she followed him. The location was a stairwell that wasn't that far, but of course there was less people. She felt kind of uncomfortable as he ordered her to pose in various ways. I was just expecting him to take 1 or 2 photos, she said. So she kept her stuff near, but he turned it into a mini photo shoot and didn't want her stuff to come out in any of the photos, so he took her bag away and placed it near him. He tried making small talk with her, but it just made her more uncomfortable. A couple times he even fixed her dress, and that just made her more uncomfortable since she did not want him to touch her. She said that she needed to meet up with her friends, and he finished taking the pictures, but as she grabbed her stuff and prepared to leave, he asked for her phone number and email. She couldn't get out of this since he approached her when she was on her phone, so she gave him a fake name and number from a texting app she had. At this point, she just wanted to get out of there, but he didn't leave her alone until she went back to where she was sitting. That guy didn't give her a business card or anything and generally looked like a shady person, and apparently has a really bad reputation in the community for taking upskirt pictures. She's still scared to take the cosplay she was wearing to Anime X again, and she saw him last year, but she heard that he got banned from going to gatherings and other conventions. This seems like a crazy story, but I had something similar happen to myself and a friend of mine when I wasn't even in cosplay. Generally, I go to cons as a photographer and maybe bring 1 cosplay or 2 if I'm feeling motivated. I had a photographer once take my friend and I into a parking garage for photos. The experience was super awkward and uncomfortable, and after a bit I just left. I was just not feeling it because it was so weird. And then she decided to finish out the shoot. I was just not about it. I'm like, okay, you have fun with this random guy, because he would touch our arms and stuff trying to pose us. And I hate when photographers just move your limbs around like a marionette. I've heard similar stories from friends of mine as well. it is an effective way to, like, get your shot, but you could just as easily, like, tell them to pose a certain way and see if they're okay with it, and then if they don't understand what you're saying, then you pose them. Don't just grab them. Like, it's just so weird when people do that. This next story was submitted by an anonymous source on a con horror story Tumblr blog. I will be reading this from their point of view because it was how it was written. This story did not happen to me. Just to clarify, this is another story that we found online. Myself and 2 friends went to Wales Comic Con last year. One friend cosplaying as Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. The other is France from Hetalia. And myself as Freaky Fred from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Towards near the end of the con, we were all resting on the stairs by the reception with a group of young teenage cosplayers running around being loud and weebish on the landing upstairs. One of the cosplayers, who I'm assuming was Colonel Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist, with a horse's head, saw France and ran to us, and started to fangirl with her. She said that her friend was cosplaying Italy from Hetalia, and would love to meet us, and got on her phone saying there was an Italy and an England here. After she hung up, we politely corrected her, telling her I was Freaky Fred. In response, she gave me a disgusted glare, and snarkily asked, "Who the fuck is that?" Needing the toilet anyway, I got up and went, but by the time I came back, my friends were gone. After eventually finding them by wandering about, my phone was dead, I found out that after I'd left, the Mustang cosplayer had asked to have a look at France's merch, and she got it out and showed her. Mustang wandered off, but whilst my friends were distracted taking a call, Mustang came back down and took France's posters and pictures from her bag, and went back to her friends to show them off, claiming she had bought them. Lilo noticed, after a little while, so her and France had to go wrestle the posters off of her and leave the area. We saw them the next day around the con, but we were wearing different cosplays, so we didn't think they recognized us. Hopefully, we won't have to deal with them this year. And despite from that event, it's a con worth going to. Weeb minorly insults my cosplay. Steals my friend's stuff. So this is another thing that seems kind of crazy, but this kind of stuff can happen. Even though everyone's gathered with like a common goal and a common thing they all like, it is possible to just find assholes, just like it's possible to find jerks in real life. I say real life because when you go to a convention, it is like its own world. Kind of like a music festival. If you've ever been to one of those, it just seems like you're in your own weird society while you're there, and then you go back to reality afterwards, and you're just like, oh, well, that was a thing. So yeah, just, again, be careful. That's my advice to that. I had, I had an experience once where I was roomed with some people I didn't really know, but I really wanted to go to the con, so I roomed with them anyway. And then this one guy at the room was like giving me mad signals, like he wanted that ass, and I was just like, no. But at the time I was really young, and I was just trying to be like polite to the dude, and I was just like, no thank you, ha 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 ha. And then he ended up giving me a love letter in Braille, so that was fun. He wanted me to decipher it, and I was just like, why is this happening? Where am I? Anyway, guys, those are my stories of the day and stories I found online. So, if you like my content, leave me that like, throw me that sub, and join the Scripps Army, numbing the pain with constant killer content. And I'll see you next time.